I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk. The God in God talk.
And that's a wrap.
You're listening to Real Talk on Godtalk, a podcast for people who skip church for brunch on Sundays. We have been wanting to switch up our check-in a little bit. I know y'all probably want to hear about my weekend and why my voice would possibly sound like this, but maybe y'all can engage with us on social media. But
Nice.
we want to switch it up a little bit this time and ask a question of, what's been going on? What's something you've been reflecting on a little bit lately?
Mm-hmm. So, I think when we dropped the last episode, I also dropped a poll on Real Talk on God Talk on Instagram. If y'all haven't followed us yet, definitely follow us on that. And it was really interesting because I basically asked the question of what is the most challenging part of like your faith journey. And I've been reflecting on those poll results because I'll give you some stats. So 67% of our listeners said that their biggest challenge in their faith journey is doubt and uncertainty. And 33% said that it's finding time for prayer. And so I reflected on this and I was like, one, very thankful for everybody who participated in the survey because it helps us get to know our listeners better and what y'all going through and what we can talk about and how we can help, which is one of the reasons, as we said in our last episode, why we even got together to do this podcast. And so when I reflected on both of these, I was like, actually, these two things go very much hand in hand. Doubt and prayer, and it was like, many times we think like our prayers like have to be super long or like you have to know what to say, but honestly the most important part is just starting. Even if it's a quick 2 to 3 minute prayer, that 2 to 3 minutes is gonna change the direction of your day because it's just 2 to 3 minutes that's your direct connection to God. And it's like through prayer that I personally realized that although my circumstances can change, who God is doesn't change. And in times of uncertainty and doubt, that really does help me because I'm like, you know what? Everything else around us will always change. But if I know who God is and that doesn't change, that gives me like a sense of peace because it's like, if God got me through it last time, God do it again. If God, moved out this obstacle, God to do it again. And so that has always really helped me. And I just wanted to share that reflection with our listeners. I've heard that it takes 21 days to build a new habit. And I'll challenge our listeners. If you're not sure where to start, take the next 21 days. Wake up in the morning and instead of reaching for your phone, take 2 to 3 minutes, take a deep breath and just talk to God. 2 to 3 minutes, that's it. And then go on with the rest of your day. If you're a night owl, not me, I'm not a night owl, but if you're a night owl, take 2 to 3 minutes right before, like literally like right before you go to bed. Talk to God and then go to sleep. 21 days, you'll realize slowly how those 2 to 3 minutes start increasing without you even knowing. And it's just gonna be a beautiful change. So it's like I'll leave our Real Talk on God Talk fam with that.
Yeah, that's so real. You talk a little bit about doubt and uncertainty and then making time for prayer, kind of like being that circular pattern. You have doubt and uncertainty off for me, often that leads to me self-isolating, feeling alienated, and then not finding prayer, feeling more alienated, from God even. And I appreciate that call to just 2 minutes, 3 minutes, nothing, you're not about to change the world with one prayer, one
Exactly.
bust down one long, long, long prayer. But that building that muscle, building that habit, that's real.
Yeah.
Um,
What about you?
let's see, me. So I have been really having a good time lately. Like in the past, I think we've talked about just my relationship with my in-laws and how positive it is.
Yeah.
Like, especially my sister-in-law, right? So,
That's love.
my mom, my sister-in-law, and myself start a book club.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, yeah, readers, listeners, y'all might know I'm an avid reader. I try. And my sister-in-law recommended Power Moves by Sarah Jakes Roberts, who some of you might know is TJ Jakes' daughter, right? So when my sister-in-law recommended the book, I gotta admit, I was a little skeptical at first. that's not my style usually. I'm not liking the whole TD Jakes. Like I think what did TD Jakes make like that romantic sensual love making album or like whatever. Like okay, that's kind of weird. But my sister-in-law recommended it, so I'm like I'm gonna give it a try. I've been listening to it on audiobook, and y'all, it has been a word on me, on my life. Um, she's basically been talking about how we can, you know, under God's grace and guidance, access our power to have agency over our lives, to have the energy, the direction to just, do the things that we want to do things we need to do. And so I'm just going to share and reflect on something I wrote in my little notes app really quickly. I'm about 4 or 5 chapters in now. And something I wrote in my notes section is Sarah Jakes Roberts talks about how we often suppress our wants and our desires, right? Um, we do that because we're often afraid to say what we actually want. Either we think what we want is, we might be ashamed of what we want. We might think we can't actually access and get what we want. But she says that oftentimes God speaks to us through our wants and our desires. And when we suppress them, we're not able to access what God's will for our lives really is. Like when we suppress them because of what people might think about us or how we might be received or perceived. And so she says, wanting the same thing as God always puts us on the same team as God. And, when you're on the same team as God, how powerful are you? You can tap into God's power. And so in the book, she encourages us to really identify exactly what it is that we want, why we feel like we can't access it, what we're trying to avoid in that fear-based place, why we won't admit or go after our desires. And, I really encourage you guys to do that same thing. Give it some thought and, maybe even give Power Moves a read. I've been enjoying it so far. Maybe we can chat about it a little bit. I just been really reflecting on that. So
that's cool. I love that. Always a good recommendation from YaYa. So y'all hit her up if y'all read that or have read that.
Yeah.
How long is it? You know how many chapters?
So it's an audio book. I think it's maybe like 10 chapters.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Okay.
I listen to my audiobooks on double speed. I cannot be with this.
I hear that though.
Yeah, I listen to audiobooks on double speed. I enjoy it. It works for me. Really a light lift. So would recommend. Yeah,
okay, cool. All right. I dig it.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Let's get into a rundown of what you can expect from this episode. It might sound like we're stating the obvious, but people just be lying for no reason. From the little white lies we tell our friends when we're running late to the function, to the pervasiveness of fake news and the barrage of lies spewed almost daily by mainstream media, to the common stories of generational family secrets, husbands keeping entire second families across state lines. We've all heard of that. We live in a world where it can sometimes feel like the truth is just not in some of us. And it can be really frustrating, whether you're the one being lied to or the one who can't seem to stick to the facts, no matter how hard you might try. However, Jesus himself says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. In this episode, we're exploring the psychological and social reasons we lie, the good and the bad of straying from the truth, the spiritual cost and impact of lying, and the steps we can take to navigate it all. And finally, I'll take us through keeping time in the moon reading in time for the October 17th full moon in Aries. Okay. So, getting into it, I'll start with like a little story time. So when I was a pledge for my sorority, we used to have this saying, every time we get caught saying a lie or saying something that's like a little untrue or inaccurate, right? It's basically like lies. Lies are vile, vicious, and low down. We must strive to mend our ways so we may become one day So we say that it
I
was
dig it.
cute,
Yeah.
whatever. But in the real world,
Hmm.
outside of that time, when we
Yeah.
were pledging or whatever, it really feels like people just be lying all the time
All
to
the
no
time.
consequence. Like it doesn't even matter.
None.
People just be lying. And there have been specifically a couple of situations in the last couple of weeks for me where I keep catching people, especially at work, in dumb little lies. Like talking about they didn't get my email, knowing damn well they did. And it just feels like I'm at my limit with the lies.
Yeah.
So I came to truth, no pun intended, but I came to truth with this topic because I need to explore a little bit. All the lies is starting to get to me, you know? And so, that being said, I want to ask, I guess we can start kind of like on the personal level just to like get
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it a little bit. What's your take? What's your stance on lying? You be lying, true?
I'll be lying.
Now I'll be lying. Now I'll be
I'll be
lying.
lying. Yeah, I'll be lying. I'll be lying.
Do tell more. Do tell more.
So I lie. I feel like the times that I do lie, it's for like the same reason. It's for my protection, my peace, or if I sense jealousy in people. If I sense any of those things, if I sense like you're not a person that I could be like my true self with, I'm a lie. I'm a lie because I just don't want you to have access to that part of me. If you iffy around me, that don't fly with me. I'm a lie to you. What about you?
I get it. I get it. So, confession, I used to be like compulsive with it. Like not crazy lies, like not like, not lies that I felt would hurt people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but the quote unquote white lies
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and lies of like I probably still be lying by omission. Like I will not say that's fine. Like for me, I don't feel like I gotta tell anybody my business.
Hello.
So if you do not ask me the specific question,
Ask me
I
what you want to know.
right, I may lie. But back in the days, especially when I was in school, like a late paper, I stepped on a curling iron, so I couldn't make it to class today. Like, girl, what are you talking about? If I was late for something, why I didn't do something I told you I was gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, your girl used to be really bad.
Yeah.
But like probably about like 6, 7 years ago, I totally made it a mission to stop lying. Like it just started feeling it started feeling like I don't know. It started feeling like I was an untrustworthy person. Like, why I gotta lie? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
started feeling like I'm not scared of nobody. Like, what you gonna do? You gonna beat me?
Right, right, right.
And so, as of now, let's be real. I'm human.
Right, right.
Sometimes it's like I don't want to deal with the consequence of
Of
something,
course.
and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I do try to not lie because one, I get very embarrassed easy, and
Mm-hmm.
getting caught in a lie is like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like, I don't want to get caught, and
Nah.
so
Yeah, see, like I'm
I
the
don't be
worst
lying.
because I know for a fact, like if I lie, I'm gonna keep the lie lie. I'm gonna
Oh,
run that.
oh,
I'm gonna
you
run
just
it.
it is what it
It
is.
is what
Once you lie, that's the truth. F
that's
it.
it. That's it. It's just gonna stay there. So like that's
Got
why like
it.
I'm very selective at least when I lie because it like I know it's just gonna stay there. As soon as I lie, I just gotta run with it. Um but there are, like we were saying earlier, there are some psychological effects to this, and there have been like studies that were done. There was one in 2019. There in the Psychiatric Quarterly titled "The Phenomenology of Lying in Young Adults and Relationships with Personality and Cognition."
Say that
Um,
5 times fast.
for real.
The phenomenology of lying. Right,
There you go.
right.
Basically, what they're saying, it's in their research, they took university students were invited to participate in an online study, which included a 91 item questionnaire and 4 neurocognitive tasks. The survey included questions about frequency of lying and reasons for doing so, mental health history, personality traits, religion, insights into lying. And then basically they had those who like lied daily, they were categorized as daily liars, were compared to those who lied less frequently, so like the non-daily liars. 18.1% of the sample reported lying every day. And basically in a nutshell, the study showed that daily liars showed worse GPAs, quality of life, and self-esteem. What
Mm.
daily lying was associated with like negative functional impact on school, your social relationships, family home dynamic, And basically, it's like, even though we could think like the short-term benefit of lying is like okay, what the study was showing is like in the long run it's not okay. It's not gonna end well. So what you think?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah.
I mean, like, our parents, people say, don't lie, don't
Mm-hmm.
lie. Lying is bad. You should tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously there's like something that we know, like
Yeah.
I think as human beings
Yeah.
about the truth being a positive, good thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised by that. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that because I feel
Yeah.
like lying is a signal of something being off, of something not
Mm.
quite being right. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it doesn't surprise me that if you're telling daily lies, then that means like whatever you're lying about is off.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's gonna show up in other parts of your life too.
Yeah. 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 Do you think it's ever okay to lie though?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Right on.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that, if like you said, you said you'll sometimes lie for self-protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounded like you were talking about mostly about like emotional self-protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, for physical self-protection, like if I'm taking the train and, a guy or any person is like, oh, where are you headed to?
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm getting off at XYZ stop.
Right. 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 I'm going here
Or
right now, and in
right.
10 minutes I'm going there. Yeah.
Be like, yeah, my man at home waiting for me right now, actually. Knowing
Right.
damn well he's somewhere else. Like, yeah, I will
Right.
like I
Right.
think
For sure.
protection,
Yeah.
obviously, protection of myself, protection of
Yeah.
others,
For sure.
other circumstances in which it is okay to lie. I mean, I guess it's still protection, but for
Yeah.
your own emotional, psychological
Yeah.
self-protection, like sometimes the truth can feel like a very heavy burden.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a burden that you want to be able to carry,
Yeah.
but sometimes you just can't. And you're not in a place that you can't handle
Yeah.
the truth
Yeah.
or whatever they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and if I really feel like I don't want to talk about something, I mean, it's okay in that I'll forgive myself for it.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. I totally get that.
I feel like we've been getting kind of into I guess the bigger question of like, is not the truth a lie? Like, is
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
truth technically a lie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that I think the recipient of that lie also matters, because sometimes when you are responsible for someone, let's say maybe a child, there have been times like I don't have any children myself, but I've been responsible for my younger siblings, especially when they were much younger, and they have asked me questions that I did not think they could handle the truth,
Same.
and
Yeah.
I was in a position that I was steward of them. I
Yeah.
was responsible for them.
Yeah.
And so I got to decide whether they could handle it or not. Like
Yeah.
they didn't have as much agency as, let's say, an
Yeah.
adult.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
so I felt like it was appropriate to lie
Mm-hmm.
and to say something that I knew wasn't true,
Yeah.
um, to protect them, to be responsible for them. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, my husband,
Mm-hmm.
I don't I really try not to lie
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like really,
Facts.
like even more
Facts.
than anybody else,
Facts.
because
Facts.
in that relationship I find that once even omission type lies,
Yeah.
once he finds out that I've lied about something and that erosion of trust happens, there's always a little doubt in the next thing and the
Yeah.
next thing and the next thing, and I don't like to be doubted.
I hear that. No, you're absolutely right. You know what? It's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I think with my wife, like that's one thing I don't do. We're
Mm,
very like straightforward with each other. We we don't lie, we don't omit, we don't, that's one thing that
mm,
and it takes practice too. It's not just like it comes easy. It takes practice.
yeah.
And you really got to be able to trust that this person is going to handle all of this rawness because
Mhm.
we some slick individuals, so sometimes your mouth get a little too slick, and that happens, but it's like you have to trust that person. But I totally agree with you that especially in a relationship or in something like as a marriage, like it's there's so many effects to lying and that omission, and it's like once you plant that seed, it's real. It's hard to like dig that seed out once it's been planted. And like that's just from me seeing like other relationships where there have been like lies. It's a little harder
Mm.
when I've seen relationships who really keep that truth in there, and the time and place for the truth as well. I feel like that is something that is helps your bond. And I think another person I don't, especially like now as like an adult, lie to is my mama. I got a lot of her. I be telling her everything.
Your mama and your partner are
Yeah.
two like really deep relationships that,
Yeah.
people can have in their lives.
Yeah.
And when you start to dig into like real serious issues, for
Mhm.
me, it can sometimes feel like the truth is ripping me apart, where it's
Yeah.
like the thing that I have to say to be truthful, to be real, is so hard. Like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, or I feel that it could lead to like a lot of conflict, and I don't want to be angry with you, and I don't want you to be angry with me. And so sometimes it can feel like it's easier to go with a lie. But I truly believe that the truth always makes itself evident. Whether it's 5 minutes from now, 20 years from now, it don't
Yep.
matter. It's gonna come out. The darkness will come to light.
Mhm.
And so it's like, especially with those deeper relationships, it's like
Yeah.
you want to feel the heat on the front end or the back end.
Mhm. Right.
And
Right.
what
Right.
starts
Right.
as a little spark of heat, over
Mhm.
time, that lie will fester into a big ass fire.
Yeah. For
And it's
real.
like, which one do you want to avoid?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Honestly, a little spark or the whole house burning down. Which one you want?
Bro,
you know.
bro.
Absolutely. Do you think like on like the terms of lying? Do you think there's like a spiritual cost to lying?
I do. I do. As I have progressed in my personal journey of meditation and self-reflection, I have become far more in tuned with my intuition, right? And a part of me feels like intuition is God's voice guiding me throughout the day to make small choices, big choices. Is there danger around this corner? To really go with my gut.
Yeah.
But in order for me to actually hear that and have the courage to follow it, every single time I do something that's anti that, like God will never lie. God don't lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time I do something that is antithetical to that small inner voice, that truth within me, I go farther and farther away from being able to hear it and recognize it and follow it. And so I find that the more I lie, the more inauthentic I am, the more afraid I am to, let's say, live in my truth, the more afraid I am to say the thing, the more I cop out, the less I'm able to access all the blessings that come along with following that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's a spiritual cost to consistently going against yourself,
Yeah.
which is, in my view, going against God.
Yeah.
Like, I think you gotta ride the wave of you and what is within you, which I truly think, is the truth. Um, Even if it's challenging, or at least try.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Heavy on the like trusting your intuition and instinct and how that can separate you more. So yeah, heavy on
Mhm.
that. I don't even need to add anything to what you said because I totally agree with you. So I'm double that.
Yeah,
double that.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I think
Um,
go ahead, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I think there was a question that I think was pretty interesting and that you had asked like in our show notes. Y'all can't see this, but in the show notes, Yaya asked, "Do you think not being out is considered lying?" You asked me this question, and when I first got the show notes, I was like, "This is a really interesting question because it has so many parts, right? It's not that easy." But I think I'll tell you this. I think that is up to the person, honestly.
Mhm.
For me, I can speak on my experience. When I decided to go into like relationships before I was married, um, that was I think like as I progressed in age, it started to matter a little more to me if somebody was out or not. And I'll tell you why. Because it is hard as hell dating someone, living your daily life with someone that is not out. Because
Mm.
their lies do become your lies. And that's a whole lot of lies. That's a whole lot of lies. So I
Right.
think, I think when I was younger, I didn't really care too much because it felt like, man, whatever, we could just live our lives and this, that, and the third. And you have like that freeing spirit when you're younger. But as I got older and then definitely as I was looking to like see about like settling down and what I really wanted in a relationship, that became more important to me, where it was like if you weren't, I wasn't entertaining it. Um, and so I think it became more important to me because I was like, I didn't want to live, you know, our life one way and then our life another way, depending on who's around. And I'm like, I don't think that's generally healthy. And I didn't want that for a future relationship for myself. Many people do it. Hey, if it works for you, cool. But I think for me, it just wasn't something that worked for me. But I do understand how not. I don't think not being out is considered lying, but I think you got to
Mm.
know what works for you because you know the space that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Not it's not safe for everybody to just be out because even now, I will tell you, there's certain places where when I go, I don't I'm not out, I won't like even if I'm with my wife, like we don't act like we're out. We don't act like, to bring too much
Mhm.
attention to ourselves and that's, for safety, for, preservation and stuff like that.
Mm.
So like I don't think it's like yeah, I just think it depends on the person and what situation they're in. So I can see both sides to it.
I'm gonna transition a little bit as we kinda close out this conversation
Yeah.
online to, Truth and I, we talk about everything, we talk about fun stuff, talk about politics, talk about, what's going on in the news, and, there is one really huge lie that, we talked about a little bit that is pissing Truth off right now, pissing me off,
Facts.
um, and, we wanna kinda transition to that.
Okay. So, first, I want to give a trigger warning that we will be discussing instances of sexual abuse. If you want to move past this point, feel free. Like Yaya was saying, that one huge lie that was pissing me off when I saw it. I think it was initially on Instagram. And it was a news article where it says that the Catholic Church was sending abusive priests to the Pacific Islands, but not telling people why these priests are being sent there. And so I did some research on it because I think it was a New York Times article. And then I ended up going to the actual article, I guess, where this whole thing transpired from, which was from the a New Zealand article, an article from New Zealand. And basically what they were saying is that the Catholic Church over like a span of many years has been sending out priests who have been accused of sexual abuse or are being investigated for sexual abuse, and they are sending them to the Pacific Islands because they won't be investigated as much if they're sent to the Pacific Islands, and they can continue to serve, the church. It's a kind of, as the writer put it, it's become like a dumping ground for these accused or even convicted abusers. So it's both accused and convicted.
Sick and twisted. So first of all, sick and twisted, just
Yeah.
just the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when Truth shared the article with me and we talked about it a little bit, one of the biggest things that hit home for me is in this case, who well, one, the impact and
Yeah.
what's at stake with these lies,
Yeah.
people's lives, man. Like
Yeah.
it's people's lives. It's very
Right.
sick.
Right.
Um, but who the perpetrator and who the liar is, being the church,
Is
you hold
mm,
so much power, so much spiritual power, so much political power.
yeah.
And for the Catholic Church to totally disregard these people and say you don't matter,
Hmm.
and we're gonna send these harmful people to this area.
Yeah.
It's just like people entrust their kids with
Hmm.
you. Like, I mean, it's like sometimes it feels like I'm just stating the obvious here, like, like, duh, it's bad, like this is bad. But we gotta name the thing, like we do have to keep
Yeah.
saying it. Like
Yeah.
in the midst of all these lies, somebody gotta say what is the truth, what is happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure if you had more on this particularly, but what I will say is that, this is our platform and we're
Yeah.
deciding that if one place is going to say the truth of what's
Yeah.
happening here,
Yeah.
it's not going to go unnamed,
Yeah.
and
Facts.
so
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And it just feels like, as far as, we all know, like, regardless of what the Catholic Church does hold power. Whether it held as much power as it did back in the day, probably not, but it still holds power, it still holds political power. When it comes to certain aspects, the Catholic Church is still um, the one that people go to. And so for them to knowingly send these people, I mean, they're not even animals, man. I'm not even gonna like offend an animal like that. But these abusers to a set of people, because as the article said, they won't be investigated. They don't have the manpower. They'll be respected when they get there because they're part of the church. I'm like, you're doing that maliciously, and you know it, that
the
these
global south, I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but the
No, you're
global south
good.
has already been so exploited
Yeah.
to purposefully send these people
Yeah.
to an area that is exploited, that
Exactly.
also you give like financial resources to and stuff, and there's this a dependence is
Yeah.
very disgusting,
It's very disgusting. And
and I'm a
it
tap out there.
yeah, and it's like the article said, and we'll link the article too, so y'all can read it for yourselves. But it's not only priests, it's also missionaries that they've sent out, both accused, both that they have found that were abusive, and that were being accused of it. And it's really disgusting. And the Catholic Church really needs to, stop worrying about BS and actually worry about the problem that they actually got in their hands, like pedophiles. They want to talk so much about like gay marriage and stuff like that, but y'all got pedophiles. I think that church needs to actually talk about that, because that's actually a problem. What people do consensually, I think it's none of your business. But this, y'all hiding this shit like crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna tap out right there. I'm gonna tap out. But we're gonna link this article so y'all can read it. Y'all can talk about it. Y'all can tap in with us. And let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are on this. Like, it's just madness. To keep the conversation going, tell us what you think by following us on Instagram or Twitter at Real Talk on Godtalk.
Okay, you're listening to Keeping Time and the Moon Reading. Hey, beautiful people, it is the moon reading, and today we are talking about the Thursday, October 17th, full moon in Aries. The Hunter's Moon is one of 4 supermoons in 2024, the closest supermoon of the year. The Hunter's Moon is the first full moon after the harvest moon, which follows the equinox, basically warning hunters in historical times to buckle up because winter is coming. Other names for the Hunter's Moon include the Blood Moon. As one of the closest full moons of the year, and as we move closer to late October, it's a time when many believe the veil thins between the earth and the spiritual realm, whether it be Samhain or the celebration of Dia de los Muertos. Now might be timely for us to just spend time in contemplation of our ancestors, not necessarily asking for anything or even telling them to attend to our needs, rather just listening to anything they might be wanting to say. And finally, last week, listeners noticed that I totally fumbled the bag when it came to explaining our temporary second moon, which will be orbiting the Earth from September 27th to November 25th. This second moon, technically an asteroid named Kamo Olawea, please excuse my pronunciation if it's wrong, a Hawaiian word for the oscillating celestial fragment. It's as big as the Statue of Liberty and is believed to have originated in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter's orbit. This is a time of changing seasons, a supermoon, a second supermoon. Very, very interesting. Lots of things going on here.
I love it. Thank you, YaYa. I love when you do the moon reading.
I'll be
I really do.
trying.
I've learned so much. It's really dope. So yeah, we all look forward to YaYa's moon reading on our episode. So thank you. And thank you, listeners, as always. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in the conversation as well. Once this, whatever we talk about, feel free to hit us up on Instagram, Real Talk and God Talk. You can slide in our DMs, no funny. And yeah, you could definitely join the conversation. Any final words, YaYa?
You ain't got to lie, Craig.
That's it right there. That's it. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Love ya.
I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk, the God in God talk.
And that's a wrap.